like the grown man I am. I rise and fall, I fall and rise. Flying with no feather, impossible, but me tell you what to wear. This my life, I didn't choose, I just put my all behind. Take me wherever you want to. My invisible black wings flying intercontinental. Victory, victory, that's my story. Cause I never, never surrender. As long as I can remember, I've been a hustler, hustling. Victory, victory, that's my story. Cause I never, never surrender. As long as I can remember, I've been a hustler, hustling. 22 summer in London, I was sunshine. Yeah, you're losing faith. I was bawling my eyes out in the hotel room. I was sunshine, but I never lost it. Did my hunting and some more of other things. I was crumbling inside, but I was stagnant. Cause this life is my life, and you'll be other day. All I had was I and I, I and I and I. Carry my hustle for my back, find my devil choking neck. Give 'em tough time, I promise I didn't waste a second. So I came home finished, soaked up in pain. But I never.
You guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This song is to tell you how happy I am for this week. I've made over 52 RR this week, and I'm going to break down how I actually took those trades this week. This week has really from last week I've really been down, like emotionally and all, but then yes, I guided myself, and this week was a banger week for me. It's only Thursday. I'm recording this video before New York section Thursday, and I have made 52 RR this week so far. So I'll break all the trades with you guys. I think most of the trades were taken on EURUSD, and I took one trade on gold. So yeah, I'll break all these trades with you with my back section. So let's start. So yeah, fast forward. As I told you guys already, I start my analysis from the bigger time frame, but I've done that countless times, so I don't want to do that again now. Yeah, so on the higher time frame, you realize that we had this push, a complex pullback, sorry, and this main push here. So last week we started having this complex pullback. So yeah, I had that in mind. So I went to my 15 minutes trying to mark the internal structures of the complex pullback, and right before the section opened, we had this. Let me just reduce my replay button. Now, during the Asian section, price begin to move in this manner. Now, right before the Asian section, I had this zone here, which I knew would be a smart money trap because the zones that normally situate above Asian sections are normally liquidated into another zones. So uh let's mark this here. So the first ones are normally liquidated, and then price goes to there. So let's mark these from the 5 minute charts. Good. So exactly. So coming into price on Monday, price has given me this impulsive move. This was a gap. Price came to fill the gap. Price came here, broke structure, blah blah blah. So I knew price was bearish, having a complex pullback on a higher time frame. So coming into this section, I'm looking for sales. And also, if I'm to get inducement of Asian high, inducement into a supply to mitigate, I'm going to take the sells and then take 1:3. You guys know how I trade already. 1:3 partials and then let the trend run to 1:10. So fast forward, before our section, price tapped into the supply, gave a reaction. Now the people who are early sellers are going to take the trade from this supply because it's an inducement supply. But then, as I said, we are not in our 8 o'clock London section yet, so we are not going to trade. Fast forward, price liquidated this zone and tapped into our supply. Now we are going to wait for the first inducement of the day because we are taking sells and price has induced our Asian high, giving us a smart money trap right below our supply zone. So first of all, we would have to wait for a break of structure. Now I have a lot of questions coming in. How did I take this first trade here? So yes, as I said, I knew price was very bearish on a higher time frame because we are having a complex pullback. And also price formed this impulsive push to the upside, came down, came down, came up, came down, and then this high that created this low was then induced. So this was the first inducement of the day. Price broke and I was just waiting for price to touch the inducement leg, and price just tapped into the inducement leg. So my stops was right above here. Price came below. I knew price would react at this smart money trap. Also, this becomes a new entry for me. This zone here becomes a new entry for me if the price is going to continue. So yeah, I was having this bearish movement. Break of structure, inducement, break of structure, inducement, break of structure, inducement into this POI and price. So I took an entry here and I took another entry here. And price just died off from that side. Now, so 1:3 here. This trade was also running, and yes, 1:10 here. Because I took this trade, I took the 1:3 and then re-entered here and pair 1:10 here. Now, as this trade was coming down, it was forming this trend line liquidity as well. So right after my 1:10 got hit, I left the market. Price was doing what was doing best. Now coming into New York section, this was London section. This trade was taken in London section on Monday. Coming into New York section, price was giving me this build up. I knew perfectly that this trend line was going to induce into the higher time frame because coming to the 15 minutes, we had this kind of structure forming. You had a break of structure of this leg. We've not had a pullback, so we're supposed to have a first pullback before the whole thing comes off. So I move back to my 1 minute again. Try to read price. As I said, we are moving into New York section. If I get a valid inducement of my section as a sell, I'm going to take the sell from there. So price quickly went up. Now, hold on. Now, this is what happened. When price was going up, price formed this high, low, high, low, high. Price eventually broke this low here, came up, formed a low. Price in my New York section induced that, and now when price breaks here, I will be happy to take the trade from here. So Price broke, so I set my limit at the neck of that for trend continuation. And during my New York section, I had another 1:3, and I left the market because I needed to do something or so. And then right after I left the market, price went back to hit my stop loss and went to validate this supply zone. I think this supply zone was on the, yes, it's like this. It went to validate it on the 5 minutes or something like this. Went to validate it, but as I said, I was already out of the market and the trend continued to go down. I think this was when Trump spoke on Monday, yes. And after that, price continued to die off. So the next day, I am going to wait patiently for the next day, which was on Tuesday. Okay, so before Tuesday, yes, before Tuesday, price was in this Asian range. Good. Now, during our Asian section, price had a big rally up to the upside. We had this supply zone. Normally, these supply zones would fail. As I said earlier, these supply zones will become smart money trap, but before it fails, we would have it there. Right below that supply zone, we had a relative equal highs over there. Yeah, the relative equal highs over there. Right before our London section price begin to go down. As I said, I'm not going to take a direct trade from my supply. I would wait for my Q time zone. Now price induced. Good. So the people who just took this trade would be liquidated. Price tapped into the zone. So as I said, I still wouldn't take this trade because I don't have valid confirmation until my kill time zone also gives me a first inducement of the day as a bearish inducement. So as I said, the first touches are normally fake moves. So price went inside to liquidate it. I'm still waiting for my section before I trade. Now, oh come on. Now, right in my section, price broke the structure here, and so I was waiting for the first inducement of the day. Price went ahead to induce this high that broke this low, and then price came to break this low. So I was very happy to take my trade from the inducement leg here, and my stops will be at the top. And price reversed, tapped into my zone, and then another 10 hour. One is 3 partials, 10 hour take profit. And that's on Tuesday morning, London section. Right after London section, price was given this trend line, or what you guys call the channel, upward channel. Price was just going up in a channel form. As I said, we had a breakout structure from 15 minutes. So I was expecting that as well to happen. Come on, wait. I was expecting that to happen. So we had the channel upside to touch our supply. I always say this, after a breakout structure, a complex pullback. This is the complex pullback. So I'll go to my 1 minute again. Now in my 1 minute, before my New York section, which is here, price had already mitigated my supply. So what I was waiting for was a break of structure and a first inducement of my New York section, because I've had break of structure, complex pullback, and now the efficiency of the pullback is the break of structure, and then the inducement of the day is the confirmation of the new continuation trend. So I had this break of structure here. I had this break of structure here, waiting for my first inducement of the day. Price was giving me this consolidation period, and eventually price broke to the downside. It means that this low here, or this my inducement leg here, is valid. I enter here, my stops right above that, and then price came to tap into my entry, and then another 1:11. So 1:10 in the morning, 1:11 in the afternoon. Actually, I took the trade at 1:10. So 1:10, 1:10, making 20. We already made 20, already made 3 here, and then 10 here, 10 plus 3, 13 plus 20, 33. That's just Tuesday. So moving into Wednesday. So when we are moving to Wednesday, I'll just go back to my 15 minutes, because on my 15 minutes, this is my internal highs and lows. But what price is doing here is just internal structure, and I'm expecting price to break this low. So if price breaks this low before my landing section, I'm going to look for buys for a complex pullback. But then if it doesn't, I'll still look for sales. So during the Asian section, price rallied up again, had a massive impulse move to the upside into our extreme zone. So when we came into London, price was in our extreme zone. Price had already tapped into, just before London, price had tapped our into our supply. Now, I had a lot of questions on this. You said the first touch is a liquidity touch, so why did you trade? Yes, it's a liquidity touch, and I'll prove to you why it's a liquidity touch. But that doesn't mean that once price taps it, it's going to liquidate it at that time. No, it can give you a sell continuation and then later come and liquidate it. So I'll show you why and how that happened. Now, I am only going to take this trade if I get internal break of structure and the first inducement of my day. But then also we have this massive impulsive move to the upside. If I get a 2-leg protocol, it's also an entry model for me, and I'm going to take it. So price formed this low, went to form a high. Now see, just before that, see what happened. Price formed, this is a long push, so I would wait for a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, protected high, protected high. When price breaks here, the leg of this is where I'm going to take my trade. My stops is right above there, and then price tapped me in. We've already made 33 hour. Price give 6 hour. I think I had class, so I had to leave. I left at 6 hour. So this was on Wednesday morning, which is yesterday. I left at 6 hour because I had an exams to write. Now, right after my 6 hour, now let me show you guys something. On the 15 minutes, we've had what? A break of structure here. But as I said, the first touch are normally liquidated touch. So when price is coming back, I have confidence that price will liquidate this and go down again. So I didn't trade in New York section yesterday, which was on Thursday. But this was what I would have done. I would wait for price to liquidate this in my New York section. Fast forward, price pushed up. We are not yet in our New York section though. Good. So right before our New York section, price liquidates that leg here, and normally this would be my entry, aggressive entry here, and my stops will be at the top, and our target 1:3. But remember, it was not yet in our kill time zone, so I wouldn't take that trade. I'll wait for my kill time zone to give me a first inducement of the day, and I would have taken that trade. Now this is the first inducement of the day. There we go. This is the first inducement of the day. So the leg here would have been where I would have entered, and my stops would have been there. Stops would have been here. Yeah. And my 1:3. But I didn't trade yesterday absent because I was not available. But let's see what would have happened. And price just consistently went down. Hit our take profit. Yeah. There we go. 1:3 being hit here. But I didn't, as I said, I was not available, so I didn't take this trade. That's why it's not on. Yes, so let's continue. So coming into today, price. Let me go to the 15 minutes after the day ends to see what's going on. To see what's going on now. Yes, price had this big rally to the downside. Asian section gave a rally to the upside. I want the Asian section to be done. Okay, so I'll go to the 1 minute. Now, this is where I'm getting a lot of questions from. Before that, this was a supply, and this was also a supply. Okay. Now the question is, how did I get that supply? Let's go back to our 15 minutes. I got those supplies from here. 1 and 2. Now, you see this clear on the 5 minutes. So let's go here. So 5 minute supply and this supply here. Now, the question is, what am I still looking for? I am still looking for sells because we've not cleared this low yet and we are having a complex pullback into extreme zone. So I would continue to look for sells. However, coming into this day, price, let me go to the 1 minute for you guys to see it very well. In my Asian section, price formed this upward liquidity, trend line liquidity. This was my last sell to buy that got induced over here right after our section. Now we had this relative equal highs, we have this accumulation, inducement of this, choppy price action here. So yes, price was given bearish, and I was so happy. But also price was given a continuation trend, bearish from in lower high, lower low, induce, went ahead to form a lower low, price induced that to form a lower high. Now, as I said, this was the last sell to buy candle that caused this whole move here. Now, before that, this demand, I was expecting this demand to fail right before my landing section, get the first inducement of the day as a landing trade, and then sell to invalidate this zone as a smart money trap. But this is what happened. This zone here also got induced, and then price went ahead to break structure here. Good. So this is the trick that happened today. We were waiting for sales. That is, price should what? Invalidate this and break structure so that we take the first inducement of the day as a sell and target the lows. But this is what price did. Price induced this, and price was supposed to come ahead and break this low. That's for sales perspective. I was expecting this to happen. Induce, break of structure, test, continuation. Also, this zone held and broke structure. If you are looking at a buy perspective, this zone held, broke structure, came into the new demand that was formed. So I became cautious. I was like, okay, if this demand is going to hold, then price has to break this inducement again to tell me I am wrong. And because this reversal happened in a fair value gap rather than a supply zone, the inducement of the Asian high, we have to induce to mitigate. It just induced with no mitigation and continue the trend. However, I was going to be happy to form or to take the sells because we had this lower low, induce, lower high, lower low, induce, lower high, lower low, induce, lower high. So assuming this broke this, I would have been looking for sells. But now, if this demand is to hold and a new high forms, it means I'll take the last sell to buy movement we are going to have here and target this zone for my 1:3 quick move. Now price went ahead and formed a new high. So once this new high was formed, this whole sell to buy is my zone to look for entry. I look for a fair value gap here, place my entry there, my stops was right below here. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. So break of structure, and then I was waiting for price to move into my supply, refine supply with this fair value gap, take the trade there, and my low is being protected by this. And price tapped into it and then sharply gave me 1:3. You guys know how I trade by now, 1:3. And now this could become a smart money trap because now the market knows a lot since this supply wasn't tested before price came down. This whole move becomes a trend line liquidity for this to forward this move. Now it validates that this zone would not be able to hold because of this trend line liquidity purchasing. This becomes a smart money trap for this to hold. So I went ahead to convert this into a smart money trap, waited for price to push up. Price just pushed up and up and up and up. And currently I think price is at almost 9R. And this zone 2 became what? So at that point, your stops is at break even. This supply zone is very likely to hold, so your stops is still at break even. Wait patiently. Eventually, this zone also gets broken, comes a smart money trap, and yeah, just waiting patiently. So currently, price is at almost 10R as we are speaking. Yes. So going into the New York section, this is what I'm expecting. You see this inducement high we had here. That is my last area to look for sells. If price doesn't give me a reaction in my New York section here, here, if price doesn't give me a reaction here, good. So if price doesn't give me a reaction here, and price breaks this, I'll be looking for buys during my New York section. So guys, this is the end of the video. Currently price is at 10R. This is the end of the video, and then thank you guys for your massive support. Please, if you watch this video, you like it, just like the video, leave your comment section, leave the comments in your comments, leave the comments in the comment section for me, and then I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.
I never, 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 never. I never, 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 never. Victory, victory, that's my story. Cause I never, never surrender. As long as I can remember, I've been a hustler, hustling. Victory, victory, that's my story.